Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. In this video, we will learn about confounding variables, also known as confounders. Confounding variables, or confounders, are variables that must be studied in any research because they can alter the results. That is why they are called confounding variables or confounders. They can change the results in a way that may negatively affect the final outcomes of the study, because as we have learned previously from earlier videos, when conducting any study, two variables must be examined, but studying only two variables may not provide us with a clear picture. This is mainly because there may be intermediate variables that influence this relationship. Therefore, there are certain conditions that must apply for a variable to be considered a confounder. It must be related to the exposure or the cause, and at the same time it must be related to the outcome or the result, or it must be an independent variable at the same time. It acts as a predictor for the final outcome. Let's take this example. If we wanted to conduct a comparative study to determine who is faster, men or women. In this case, the causal variable would be gender and the outcome would be speed. If we wanted to conduct this study, the hypothesis would be that men's speed is equal to women's speed. But in the end, the results showed that men in general were faster than women. This result that appeared did not take into account some confounding factors present in this study. It is possible that men were observed to be faster than women, but this could be attributed to age. Therefore, age acts as a significant confounding factor in this scenario, which means that it is quite plausible that the men participating in the study or observation were, on average, younger in comparison to the women, thereby influencing the perceived speed difference. So, the age factor must be studied as a confounding variable in this study to determine whether men are really faster than women or not. Let's assume we repeated this study a second time, and in this study we made sure that the ages of the men were exactly the same as the ages of the women, thus controlling for the age factor. Now we conducted the study again to examine the relationship between gender and speed. We conducted the study a second time, but we got the same result again. The men were faster than the women, so now we reached the conclusion that men are faster than women. Even though we did extensive controlling or careful adjustment, or what is commonly known as meticulously controlling for the significant age factor, is this particular result truly correct? Perhaps not, and the primary reason is that it's quite possible that the men participating in this specific study were considerably taller than the women involved. Therefore, height is now a significant confounding variable that we absolutely need to carefully control for, or in other words, we specifically need to do the necessary controlling for this particular variable in our analysis. Therefore, if we conduct this study again and select men and women who are of the same age and in the same height, and we conduct this study, and we get the same result again, that men were faster than women. There might be other variables in this study that need to be checked. These are known as confounding factors or confound variables. Confound variables or confounding factors are variables that can alter the result. The first time men were faster than women, but we did not take into account the age of the participants. And the second time, men were also faster than women, but we did not take into account the height factor. So height and age are considered confounding factors in this study. We find that the height factor and the age factor are both related to the gender of the participant, and at the same time they are related to the participant's speed, the participant. So it is related to the exposure and also related to the outcome. At the same time, it is not considered a mediating factor. It is completely independent from both the cause and the effect. That is why it is very important when conducting any study to identify the confounding factors associated with that study, which can be determined either from previous studies or by conducting some advanced statistical tests to determine the effect of confounding factors. Therefore, it is necessary to control, or what is known as adjustment or controlling, for these factors during statistical analysis. This can be done in several ways, either during the research design or after the research is completed. These are the most important methods by which confounding factors can be controlled during the study design. These include randomization, where random distribution is applied, statistical analysis is performed on a specific group, or the third method, matching is the process of pairing or matching. If we are unable to control these variables during the research design, we can control them after the research is completed. There are several methods. The first method is stratification, which involves dividing the sample into groups, and the other method is multivariable analysis, which is a comprehensive analysis involving several variables. Each of these types will be discussed in detail. Controlling for the adjustment of confounders will be covered in a separate video. Thank you all.